Hey fellow duelists, it's RagingRaidRaptor here, coming at you today with a follow-up video to how link summoning might affect Raidraptors, because of the fact that I made a pretty substantial error that I need to address. But before I do though, I need to apologise for not uploading a video last week, since I was helping my pal YuGiOh with a secret project that I can't actually go into detail just yet. But anyway, back to the point of this video. The mistake I made in the original video was that I showed YuGiOh Talker being summoned by only sending 2 monsters to the graveyard. The reason I edited that moment the way I did was because I thought that is how you could summon YuGiOh Talker, as the card description does say that you can summon it with 2 or more effect monsters, where using 2 monsters would have been the easiest way to summon it, but you could also use more monsters to make room for your field if you wanted to, similar to how you can use more than one non-tuner monster for a synchro summon. However, this is completely wrong, since the cost of link monsters is actually dependent on how many links that link monster opens. Using YuGiOh Talker as an example, it actually needs 3 effect monsters in order to summon it, since it is a link-free monster. However, if you have another link monster on the field, you can add the link value of that link monster in order to make the summoning of YuGiOh Talker easier. For instance, if you had the link 2 monster on the field, you can just send that monster and another effect monster on your side of the field in order to summon YuGiOh Talker, as opposed to having to use 3 effect monsters. Now that we've got that out of the way, I can talk about how this might affect the Raidraptor archetype. Since I now know that you need to send monsters equal to the number of links that monster opens, I think this will mean that the types of link monsters that Raidraptors can easily summon will be limited, since summoning cards like Firewall Dragon requires 4 effect monsters, which will be incredibly difficult for this deck to summon on a consistent basis, unless your first turn 4-6 manages to survive your opponent's turn. But even then it might not be worth it, since Firewall Dragon does need you to have monsters in its link zones in order to use its effect, which will mean that you will need to summon 5 monsters in order to get any benefit from Firewall Dragon. For this reason, I think the best link monsters for this archetype might in fact be Link 2, since those link monsters will be just as easy to summon as most Xyz monsters, and it may even be worth considering running some Link 3 monsters in order to give you more flexibility. However, this might actually make Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon necessary to play, since you can special summon it with only 1 extra monster zone, and can special summon other Raidraptor monsters from your deck, which can then be used to summon a link monster, while still being able to special summon any Raidraptor Xyz monster from your extra deck like Ultimate Falcon. However, the issue with that is that if your opponent is able to get over the monster summoned with Arsenal Falcon's effect, you will not be able to special summon it back with the effects of either Sharp Lanius or Rank Up Magic Skiff Force, since the effect of Arsenal Falcon does not count as an Xyz summon. The next card I want to talk about is Evil Swarm Ophion. I think this card's potential will ultimately depend on what level monsters Link Span decks will mainly rely on. For instance, if the best Link decks need to special summon level 5 or higher monsters in order to get their engines running, I think this card will still be incredibly powerful. However, if the game proceeds in a direction where summoning level 4 or lower monsters becomes the norm, then this card will become incredibly useless, since Ophion cannot stop lower level monsters and link monsters, since link monsters don't actually have levels. The next cards I want to talk about are both Icarus Attack and Full Force Virus. I was recently able to playtest Raidraptors with the link summoning mechanic over on Dueling Book, and I found that although having a Raidraptor Force Tricks that survived my opponent's turn was incredibly helpful with searching and link summoning as I predicted, there were some instances where it didn't help at all, since there were times where I just wanted to summon a higher ranked Xyz monster with the rank up cards, but was unable to because Force Tricks was in the extra monster zone, and did not have enough resources to commit to a link summoning monster of a card like YuGiOh Talker. For this reason, I think these cards will actually be much better, since they will help you gain advantage by destroying 2 cards on your opponent's side of the field with Icarus attack, and destroy all monsters your opponent controls with less than 1500 defense points in their hand and field, while still being able to destroy any monsters that match this criteria when your opponent draws them during the draw phase, as well as help you open up your extra monster zone of 4 streaks without the need of a link summon. However, the downsides to these cards is that Icarus attack might not always be good against cards that float, as well as being mandatory that you destroy 2 cards, since the card text does state, destroy 2 cards, and Full Force Virus is not at all good against decks with monsters that benefit from being in the graveyard like zombie decks and Infernoids, while also being less effective against a field of link monsters, since they do not have defense points. However, I think these cards will be incredibly important to consider during the link era, because of how vital having an open extra monster zone will be. But ultimately, I want to know what you guys think. Has your opinion changed on how Raidraptors might have been affected by link summoning? And if you feel I've missed any points out, let me know in the comment section below. I've been RagingRaidRaptor, and I'll see you all again in the next video.